Second question is, where is 3D television at right now? Because a couple months ago, there was a lot of rhetoric and a lot of press of the lines of 3D is dead in the water. The set sales from last year were nowhere near the projections from the Consumer Electronics Association of the places. The content people were saying, we're not going to produce original content unless the household universe expands. The households were saying, we're not going to buy sets until the original content expands. And yet in the last month, ESPN 3D has gone 24/7. Discovery has started Sony IMAX 3Net channel. Comcast has come out with Infinity X 3D channel on short notice. We're now hearing about the other possibilities popping. What is the 3D environment for television this year? What are you sensing? Are we ready for the surge? Do you see something popping? What's happening?
Well, one might say that devices came out a little bit quicker than the content did. I think the overall information that is at all of our disposal right now is saying that content is catching up. DreamWorks is not producing a single 2D movie without having a 3D component to it. Disney is in full force around 3D production. Fox, Universal, Paramount, they're all supporting 3D. Is movies enough? No. ESPN, very important piece. What Sony and others are doing right now to create the methods of broadcasting 3D to get it into the home, those channels are coming live. So therefore, I believe, and even to what Phil brought up earlier, it took a long time to get 1 million HD TVs in the home. We did that within 1 year here in the US by itself. Not bad, okay? And if you look at the adoption curve of any other technologies that came forth, look how long it took color to come about, okay? These were much longer curves, and I believe that we have a healthy business. It just needs to catch up. Both the chicken and egg content and devices, they need to catch up with each other, and I think that's well on the way right now.
Chris Hawes wanted to make a comment about this too.
Thanks. Being principally a television animal, I'm heavily involved with the 3D TV scene around the world. I'm currently in production on 2 projects in Canada in 3D TV, 1 project in Germany, 1 project in Australia, and 1 long-running 3D series here in the USA. The problem has been that the equipment has worked best with certain types of venue, the sports venue or concerts and theater venues. It's easy to use beam splitter rigs in that kind of situation. There hasn't been the location capable 3D until very recently, but now that equipment is coming on stream and we're using it. I've just finished a show about jellyfish in the Japanese sea in 3D using one of those cameras. The other thing that is problematic is that from a television point of view, there are not that many practiced stereographers around who understand the difference between television 3D and movie theater 3D. But that's growing. There are training schemes all over the world enabling DOPs and television documentary camera people to embrace and learn about stereography. That's good. Perhaps more significantly even than that is the need for producers and directors and writers to understand that 3D is a different animal and needs to be thought about differently. The project I'm doing in Australia will have my name on the end of it as depth consultant, which is a whole new credit in the world of film and TV, but I rather like it as a psychologist. I think that's quite nice. Depth consultant. It's important for people to bear in mind that you can't just jerk people around on a visual yo-yo and expect them to enjoy the experience. So some subtlety needs to be applied there. And lastly, but by no means least importantly, because this bears directly on your question, even more so than what I've just said, is that production managers, business managers, and producers don't yet have a clear model about how to budget 3D TV. because in every circumstance it'll require different equipment, in every circumstance it'll require different approaches, different ways of storytelling, and in every circumstance it will require different post-production pathways that will depend critically on which kinds of 3D your end result is going to be transmitted in, and which kinds of 2D your end results are going to be transmitted in. Because what a lot of people are doing around the world is they're buying the 2D pre-sale licenses, and they're taking options on the 3D pre-sale licenses in order that they can future-proof their inventory. So there are lots of unknowns in this area. And as a matter of fact, I think that Discovery, for example, is being very bold and brave in the way it's approaching this through its 3Net initiative, and they're commissioning all over the place. Even though it's a little bit of an unknown entity in some respects, because they know they've got to get inventory onto their shelves and out into the air. So I'm with the other people on the panel who're saying it's actually moving faster than you might have expected, even though from the outside it may not seem that way.
We're going to have time for just one more question. Yes, in the back.